This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Friday, April 18th, 2025. I'm Marek Mazurek. As the avian flu wreaks havoc for egg producers, the USDA has given hundreds of millions of dollars to companies who have had flocks depopulated. But when the country's second largest egg producer, Indiana-based Acre Farms, suffered an outbreak at its Seymour facility, there is no record of government support payments. It's not clear why Acres hasn't received relief payments when most other large egg producers with avian flu cases have. A Acres spokesperson told Inside Indiana Business the company's CEO, Tony Wesner, wasn't interested in talking to reporters. The January outbreak led to Acres depopulating 2.6 million birds. But other companies with smaller facilities have received large payments. For example, Cal-Maine got over $40 million from the USDA after outbreaks in the past 2 years. Hillendale Farms has received $53 million, and Versova Holdings has netted over $100 million in relief payments in the past few years. A USDA representative also declined to comment on whether Acres had submitted paperwork to get reimbursed for losses incurred by the avian flu. In general, the USDA gives relief payments to encourage farms to report avian flu cases, making it easier to quarantine and stop the further spread of the virus. But government spending data shows no major payments to egg producers so far in 2025, and it's unclear why. A new interim rule was adopted last fall that requires farms to pass a biosecurity audit in order to receive indemnity payments. Previously, the agency required farms only submit written plans. The U.S. Air Force has announced plans for a new small arms qualification range at Holman Field Air National Guard Base in Terre Haute. The $13 million project will support the nearly 900 airmen from the 181st Intelligence Wing of the Indiana Air National Guard. The facility is designed to allow live-fire qualifications training with small-caliber weapons. The 181st Intelligence Wing says when complete, it will provide a streamlined operation for qualifications, especially in the event of short notice or rapid deployment scenarios. The wing said in a news release that having an on-base range has been a priority for nearly a decade. Colonel Charles Goad, the wing's commander, called the project, quote, a huge win. A timeline for the facility's construction was not immediately known. When complete, however, it will be the first purpose-built facility at Holman Field since 1997. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
To succeed, you need to stay informed. You need to be engaged. And let's face it, you need to set yourself apart from the rest by connecting with a company that brings you the best. Because in today's environment, business is an ever-moving target, and we'll help you chase it. IBJ Media. The best of business is in us. Get started at ibjmedia.com/youngprofessional.
The Indiana Attorney General has filed a lawsuit against the leader of the Marion County Agricultural Fair Association's board for more than $12,000. The Fair Association Director Sidney Mowry is a local player in GOP politics. The suit stems from a March 2024 State Board of Accounts investigation, which found she used taxpayer dollars to pay for home improvement projects. Attorney General Todd Rokita's office filed the complaint against Mowry in a Marion County Superior Court on March 7th. It alleges that she wrongfully used public dollars and enriched herself with public funds by using Marion County Fair Board money to pay painters for work done at her home. The amount of damages sought in the suit includes the $4,500 used to pay for the painters and around $7,500 for the cost of the investigation. Per the State Board of Accounts, a check dated November 13, 2021 for $7,500 was given to painters who had done work on the Marion County Fairgrounds. Investigators found $3,000 was used to paint a lodge on the fairground property, but the remaining $4,500 was used to pay for work done at Mowry's home, including painting siding on her home and another building on the property, removing mildew, and staining the deck. Neither Mowry nor her attorneys have responded to the Indianapolis Business Journal. Indiana's unemployment rate fell 0.2% to 4.1% in March. The Indiana Department of Workforce Development said Friday that the state also added 9,200 private sector jobs in March. March was the third consecutive month that the unemployment rate decreased. At 4.1%, Indiana's unemployment rate is now barely below the national average of 4.2%. The state's labor force participation rate dropped slightly to 63.7%, higher than the national rate by only about 1%. Carmel Mayor Sue Finkman is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast with Gary Dick, presented by PNC, a weekly conversation with high-profile Hoosiers in business, sports, entertainment, and beyond. Available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Marek Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio on Demand.